Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule the Galaxy fans, it is Joe for chapter 289 of the Rule the Galaxy podcast. If you're with us right now live on YouTube, welcome. Thanks for being a part of the show. You can always follow us, like us, subscribe to us on YouTube. Smash the like button, as Brent likes me to say. And, we're on all podcast platforms of choice. So go find us, Rule the Galaxy, out there. And we're starting off with a smaller version of the show tonight. I thought everybody was going to be here, but we've had some moving and shaking going on. Brent really tied up and busy and tired from all those school days. He will not be with us tonight, but that's okay because he led the show last week with chapter 288. Brent and his friend, oh goodness, Andy, Aaron, I forget. I apologize to Brent's friend. I listened to the show; it was fantastic, but I got so caught up listening to their Star Wars Legion talk that I forgot everything that I should have remembered there. So tonight it's going to be me and Alfie leading off, and then D-Doc will show up on D-Doc time. So until then, there we go. Thank you, David. Adam, I knew it started with an A. David Johnson, thank you for kicking in. I feel like such a heel right now. It was Adam and Alfie. Let's start the show off with me making less mistakes. How are you, sir?
Doing good, Joe. Busy, crazy busy, but getting excited. We're now, a week away from ICCC.
Yes, yes. So Alfie, D-Doc, and Brent will be meeting up in Nashville this time next, well, a little over a week from now, and going to be having a good time. Probably lots of pictures to send back to me and make me jealous. I'm going to be meeting up with Alfie next week at his son's football game and bringing him some Timothy Zahn stuff to take down to ICCC. So that ought to be good. Yeah, that countdown is coming quick. Reminder: somebody pick up my my pass, my press pass that's down there because I had it set up for will call and I'd still like to have it, just for fun. So you'll pick it up for me then, Alfie?
Yes. Sorry, I got lost in thought there for a second.
That's okay. I thought, man, that's going really bad that I'm asking and he's saying
Yeah,
no.
no, I was thinking about the banner because you were saying the tickets for Wilcon, and I was thinking I got to remind myself to ask you for the banner.
I've got banner and stickers right here for you. I'm writing that down so that when we meet up next week, I will bring the banner and the stickers. So there we go. We're moving in the right direction. I know you'll have all the other tools that are needed to put everything up and all that kind of stuff. I might even sell a black tablecloth for the table. We'll see.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, I know. We're fancy like Applebee's on a date night.
That's right.
Oreo shake and I don't even remember what that.
2 straws, 1 check. Yeah, something like that.
There we go. Okay, besides football with your son and bad weather for games, what's going on in the Alfie world?
Well, I mean, I've just got to plug myself here. 3-0 in fantasy football this week.
There we go. 3-0 Alfie. I'm going to check real quick. I'm 2-1.
Mm-hmm. For 1 week, I can say without a doubt, I am leading our league.
You are. Let's go check. I play D-Doc this week, so that's going to be fun.
I think I got Tom Line.
Let me go. Here we go. Standings. Alfie is 3-0. Lori is 2-1. Let's see. I am 2-1, and D-Doc is. I think he's 2-1. No, D-Doc is 1-2. Brent is. Where is Brent? Brent is 0-3. Let's not bring that up for Brent next time. You can talk about that next week when you're with him at ICCC.
That's right. There's still plenty of time to get this franchise turned around.
It is. Plenty of time. Lori was cursing to no end on Thursday and Sunday because the person she was playing against, I think, was Brent. And he was pounding. Well, he wasn't pounding her. That does not sound good.
Raging.
His team. Phrasing. His team was beating Lori's team.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, she came back and won on Monday night. And I kept telling her all weekend, honey, there's a lot of time. This will turn around. We're good. You got plenty of time. And then, yeah, she was quite in the celebratory mood Monday after that victory. So, but it's going well, and we're having fun. Next year, we probably need to add your son into this league.
Yes, we could
So
probably do that.
he probably
Yeah,
like that.
I don't seem to be getting a whole lot of love in this league so far.
What? Because you're 3-0?
Yeah, but Mass was on me this week. Wishing ill on myself and the players.
That's just mass. The amount of times he's cursed my teams over the
Mhm.
years. That's
I'm
just what he
sure.
does. He does the Mama Voodoo. What is it? Gosh, Voodoo Juju or something like that. Yeah, he put that on me. Does the hex. So again, I will apologize. Last week, Brent, great job doing some Garrison talking Legion with Adam on that show. It was a really good show, very informative. If I had the patience, I would play that game. But I really like Brent's idea of just watching it and filming it. Like when I've
Hmm.
gone, I've kind of taken my camera down into the scenes of the game, and as well as they do the layout of everything, it makes you feel like you're in a miniature movie. So I can't wait to join in on the next time and kind of film all that, give everybody some updates. A couple updates on other things. Our good friend Jack Harvey, gosh, I just saw him on Instagram. He's out in Lake Como in Italy right now.
Hmm.
That dirty dog. We're gonna have to talk to him about that when he gets back. Um, Lake Como, Italy. Beautiful. And then for those of you who have not checked out Never Tell Me the Odds, the ESPN/Star Wars podcast run by our friend of the show, Ryan McGee, he had Ashley and David Eckstein on this week.
Wow.
Yeah, he and Ashley are now BFFs, so that's very cool. So think about it, Alfie. We saw Ashley at ICCC a few
Hmm.
years ago. We know Ryan. Ryan
Right.
knows Ashley. It's
It's like
like
the
six.
Kevin Bacon game.
It is. It's a Kevin Bacon game, right? So we're one stone's throw away from all these superstars
Right.
in the Star Wars universe. So yeah, but it was a really good show, and Ashley, what a sweetheart, what a great lady, and what a great just ambassador for Star Wars right now.
Hmm.
So go check that out. Never Tell Me the Odds. Ryan McGee's show, his podcast that he's doing is very cool. So I was in Destin last week.
Right.
A lot of fun.
Beautiful.
Beautiful place.
Beautiful little city.
It is. It is. It's changed so much. Like it's grown so much over the past so many years. It's crazy. I haven't been down there since 2017. I used to go every year, and it's been that long since I went. Me, Lori, the kids, the grandkids, we rented a house right up on the water. It was fantastic. I got to be Spider-Man for a day.
Nice.
I think I told you guys about that. It was,
Hmm.
as you said, it was an amazing story. And yeah, we were locked out, and the only way to get in was to go up to the second or third level and go in through the sliding glass door, which was facing the water. Nobody wanted me to do it, but I was tired of sitting out front waiting for the guy with the locksmith thing to come fix the electric lock. So I had Joey boost me up to the side rails of the second level. Then I climbed over that. Then I had to climb over a secondary wall to get to the sliding glass door. And by the time I walked back down through the house, opened the front door, the guy with the locksmith showed up out front.
Nice.
So he was a little shocked and surprised that I was coming out while he was trying to come in. But at 53 years old, honestly, though, I felt really, really good. Like nothing
Hmm.
broke. I didn't hurt myself, and I was agile enough to climb up the side and leap in there. Now, for all you spring breakers and college age kids, I'm not suggesting this. Okay, do not do this because you'll probably be in a drunken stupor while
Hmm.
you're there. I was completely sober, and I had grandkids sitting outside waiting to get in. I had to do it. So, but it was fun. Made me feel young for a little while.
It was a great story.
It was. Made me feel good. Lori was not too happy about it at the beginning, but then once I was able to scale it and open the door, she thought it was pretty cool. So, um, you were at a rainy football game this week, right?
Yes, it was awful. It was not a good time. It was a good game and everything. I don't take it the wrong way, but yes, it rained the entire game.
And it was an hour drive from your house to get to the game.
Yes, it was an hour drive, and driving home from an unfamiliar school in the dark, in the rain. That wasn't the best either, but it was a good game. They won, so and
Well,
I got
good.
to see him play. So
Well, I
gotta
can't wait. Next,
gotta
next.
look to the positives, right?
That's right. I can't wait till next week. Next Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Home game.
That's
Yep.
right.
Molinaro fan will be there to check out Enzo and see how this big man's tearing it up on the field. So um, we talked a little football. We've caught up a little bit here. What's some Star Wars stuff on your mind to start the show? Because there's plenty of topics to go over.
Yeah, I mean, all these stories coming out. Like I keep saying, I have not seen them other than from this one source. I haven't seen anybody back them up. I haven't seen it on any of the sites that I really trust. Rumors from.
Hmm.
So you got to take it with a grain of salt. I think some of it is not very surprising, but I don't know. Some of it I would look forward to. One thing I think is kind of a dumb decision, but we'll see where it goes. If it, bears any fruit.
Okay. Well, I'll run through some of them so we can pick and choose some thumbs up, thumbs down stuff. But before we do even hop into that, I forgot that that stupid Back to the Future 4 video that I sent
That
you.
had you fooled, didn't it?
Well, that's why I sent it to you, and I didn't say anything to anybody because it looked that good.
Yeah, it did. It
It
was
was
very convincing.
it was. I mean, I sat there, I was like, how have I not heard anything about this?
Hmm.
And then I sent it to Joey. He goes, that's not real, right? And I was like, I'm waiting for Alfie to tell me. But I mean, the funny thing is I watched it and I was like, well, I'm ready to go see that actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go check that out. So it was on Instagram, I think. So anybody who's listening or watching, very cool Back to the Future 4 AI kind of setup preview of nothingness, but it still was fun
Yeah.
to watch.
It was
So
definitely something I agree I would go see tomorrow. And it looked really good. The setup for the story seemed good.
yeah. If you know what, let's face it, we're making Indiana Jones movies 40 plus years later. Why couldn't we pull this off as well? I mean, what else are we doing that's 30 and 40 years old that we're bringing back around? Transformers, Star Wars, you know, w- I'm sure I'm blanking on other things. Star Trek's got how many new re-releases on
Yeah.
TV and everything else. So,
Yeah, I think I just read today there's a RoboCop series in the works
oh
for
my god,
Amazon, I think. There's no new ideas. Most of
no,
them are just rehashed. I would hate to see a complete reboot of a movie as good as Back to the Future.
agreed. Agreed. I'm fine with just continuing the story. No reason to reboot it.
Kind of like The Last Starfighter. As much as I love that movie and I always wanted to see a better version of it, I think for its time it's pretty perfect, and you just need to leave that alone.
Agreed.
Goonies, same thing.
Yeah, I'm not worried about reboots on things. I would prefer much more either prequels of things or follow-ups to them. Right?
Hmm.
I mean, give me that action any day of the week, but just a total reboot. I mean, I think it's going to happen to everything, and even whether it's in our lifetime or not, even Star Wars, probably at some point in time will get a remake or a reboot. But I don't think you and I will be around for that personally. I think they'll wait till all the 50-ish-year-old guys are gone, and then say, "Hey, kids, we're going to do this all over again."
Right. Yeah. I kind of think it'll be sooner more than later.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think Star Wars is a lot harder of a beast to tackle, and most people who try seem to fail pretty hard at it. And like I've said before, it seems like all you do is rip off other ideas. So the easiest thing to do is just going to be say, screw it. We'll just we'll just update it a little bit, rework a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We don't have to hide behind, 12 rewrites and 6 different writers and script polishers and all this, just flat out say, you know what, this is
We're
all we
just
managed to do anyway. So
well, speaking of that, the Ray movie. The Ray movie, we're seeing delays, correct? That's what we're
yeah,
hearing.
I've seen that, and that's pretty believable to me. Once again, for whatever reason, Lucasfilm has not learned from its mistakes and announced this movie, announced a date. They paraded Daisy out onto the stage at Celebration, gets everybody excited, makes everything concrete, and then you find out, like, what is it, like at least a year, right? Maybe
Mhm.
2. This guy, right in the movie, he said all along, I'm not even going to start on it until Peaky Blinders is
Right.
done. And so,
Well,
yeah,
and
now,
they put a director out there who's never done like feature
right,
films, more documentary
right,
style films, right?
right. And so, again, you just had a really big failure with a similar situation. Do you want to repeat that? And why the insistence on giving a date?
And
Just so that you have to come back and say, we're not close on this thing. We're
right.
going to need more time.
Well, speaking of dates and delays, the Taika Waititi movies, we're seeing people are saying they're on indefinite hold now, right?
Again, not surprising. I'm not, again, I'm going to say these reports take with a grain of salt. There may be
Always,
some truth to
always.
them. But again, this is a guy who said for at least a year now, every time he releases one of his films or series, he instantly gets asked about Star Wars, and he says the same thing. I'm still trying to write this thing. You know, uh, ideas I think are kind of easy because we grew up in that time, and we went through scenarios just playing with Star Wars toys, right?
Right.
So it's easy to come up with an idea. It's hard to fill in the blanks without, and in his own words, you can Google it, you can read what this man says. I'm having a hard time writing this thing without a smuggler with the alien sidekick showing up in Act 2.
Right. It's
It's
you're
just
right.
natural.
It is a tough thing. It's a tough nut to crack. I read something briefly about Star Wars Pirates, and I know you're the go-to person for all these
Yes.
things to fill me in.
So
What is that?
there is a publication called Production Weekly,
Okay.
and it's basically a trade magazine, right? In Hollywood, or I would assume it's basically like a union type thing. Here's the trades that are going to be working on each picture. So you're in doing that, you get some very generic information of this movie is in production on this date is when they're going to start working on it. And there's for a while there's been some slots that were unnamed Star Wars projects, and now I think it was last week one of them finally has a name filled in that slots, and it's Star Wars Pirates.
But we don't know if it's a show or a movie.
All we know is that it's live action
Okay.
because those trades only deal in live action. I could be wrong. I probably am, but I think this is, your carpenters, your electricians, your grippers, the uh,
Best Boys.
the people who do the film, all those people that are going to be in the different trade unions, and
Okay.
this is kind of their publication.
All right. Well, let's talk about something positive for a second. As we know, looking over my shoulder here, the helmets that they make now in the Star Wars Lego line
Mhm.
and the droids that they are making are very popular and they're awesome. I'm seeing Legos making a Jango Fett
That's right.
helmet. They're making a
That's
buildable chopper like the
mhm,
R2, an ARC 170 starfighter,
right,
and then the biggest one, the coolest one, was the Jabba's sail barge.
right.
And that was gonna be wasn't it like $400 or $500 for that? I mean, it was a
Can't
big
remember if
daddy,
it's $4.99 or $5.99, one of the two.
but it looked fantastic.
Absolutely
Uh,
fantastic.
I mean, I'm not into the Lego thing.
But you want to be.
But it's really cool.
Yeah,
I
it is really
mean,
cool.
if you could have those built and up on shelves all around you,
Hmm.
they look really cool. But at least that's something positive, right? Like people are getting behind that. They're not going, "Oh, great, they're shoving more
Right.
Legos down our throat." They're looking at that going, "Yeah, keep that coming. Just back the truck up, keep delivering those."
Yeah, as long as the minifigs, don't get too screwed up with the sets, they're generally pretty positive about the Legos.
So yes, another positive that I will talk about. I have watched the first 3 out of the 4 episodes. There's 4 episodes of Rebuild the Galaxy, correct? Or are there
I
more?
don't know. I have not watched it yet.
I watched the first 3 episodes. They were fun. They weren't the best thing ever written. They weren't anything like that. I mean, they're not Emmy award winning, whatever. They were fun. Um, Galen Matarazzo, I believe, Matarazzo from Stranger Things. He's the lead. He's the lead character, and he's really funny in it. I think he's enjoyable. Um, it I enjoyed those. I can't wait to get caught up and watch any of the more of the rest of them. But at least, I flipped it on, I checked it out, and I was like, you know what? I can see where a kid would love this.
Yeah.
Fun story. Just a lot of changes, a lot of action, a lot of things going on, and comedy, right? Lots of comedy in
Hmm.
there. So they're not afraid to make fun of themselves.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's some poking fun back at Star Wars in this. So I'm all about it. I think it was a lot of fun, and I would say if you're a parent and you're looking for ways to get your kid into Star Wars, v- if they're not 2 and 3 when the Young Jedi series is on right now, if they're a little bit older than that and they want some fun, this is definitely a place to get them on the entry because again, action, entertainment, comedy, fun, colors, activity, all that stuff. So go check it out. I'll give it a thumbs up for sure. And then Alfie, I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are on it because I don't watch all the Lego things. There's been things I've missed that you brought up to me, but I wanted to check this one out just because I thought it'd be fun. Now, still haven't seen. I thought Asajj Ventress was going to be in it, but in the first 3 episodes, she's not in so far. So I'm waiting for that. But Darth Jar Jar has made an appearance. Um, there's a Darth Kit Fisto, so that's fun. And then Vader is in white, and he and the Emperor are Jedi in this mixed up universe, while some of the other people are now Sith. So it's kind of fun right there. And you see an appearance by Luke, by Han, by Leia, Rey, all the above. So good activity. And then you could see a bounty hunter C3PO. It's fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
So
in the comics, was he a bounty hunter in one episode?
well, I know they've got the C3PO offshoot and the R2D2 offshoot that are with what's her name?
Dr. Alfra.
Dr. Afra.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he was. Now we
I
know
s-
he turns evil with the Sith eyes in
yeah.
Return
I don't know.
the
I
Rise
may
of
be mixing
Skywalker.
something up, but I was thinking there was a Marvel issue where he's on the cover with Chewie's bowcaster.
Huh. If you're listening, watching, send us a note. Let us know about that. Alfie, I'm sure we'll find it, but would definitely love to check that out. So things we also have to look forward to. Skeleton Crew seems to still be on course for December 3rd, a doubleheader to start it off, right?
Yeah, and yeah, there is some good news there because I think the year wait on Skeleton Crew has been a little puzzling. Is that a sign that it's really bad, or is it a sign that it was really good? So they're holding on to it to fill a certain slate, where they don't have anything coming out. I don't really know, but is it John Watt? I think is the creator, director, producer, whatever. He signed a contract with Lucasfilms for developmental projects. So you would think that would be a sign that they are happy with what he did.
Okay. Still weird how it got caught in the turmoil and the mix of not getting released until what, 3 years later or something like that?
Yes, it's. I know, and again, time keeps going on. So when I first was telling you guys about this, at that time, it had been film locked
Yeah.
for almost a year. That means nothing is done with it. It's done. We're just putting it on the shelf.
It's hey, at least we're getting new Star Wars December 3rd, ready for it, ready to go. Yeah. So that's a good thing. And then you sent us over Urkel in Skeleton Crew. Is that right?
Yes, he's a bounty hunter.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's good. I like some mixing up some old characters, some old actors from the 80s and the 90s and mixing them into things like this. I think it takes people who grew up during that time frame and has them sit there and look at that and go, oh, I remember this guy, or oh, that was one of my favorite
Right.
characters back then.
Yeah.
So I hopefully he just doesn't do a nod to Urkel in it. Hopefully it's his new self that's not the nerdy geeky guy with the suspenders and the high pants and all that jazz.
You never know. I mean, I'll be honest. I did not see Carl Weathers in Star Wars. From the first trailer, I was not a fan of the Mandalorian from the first trailer, and I just did not think it looked right. I didn't think it was going to work, and I like being proved wrong.
Yeah, it was a fun series. Gone too soon, but I'm sure they'll do a nice little nod to him in the next round of things. Um, you sent over some new Black series, a Luke, a Leia, and a Prince Gijor.
Yes,
Those looked great.
they did look great, but then again, how many times can you buy a episode 4 Princess Leia? I think I have.
And a shorty robe Luke.
Right. I know I have at least 2, maybe
Yeah.
3 different. We're not
There's
talking
the
duplicates. I think
yeah.
there's a red and black box. There was
Yep.
the archive, and then I want to say there was
Wasn't there a
one
New
more.
Hope 40th anniversary? Didn't they do that? Like
I
didn't they
think
do
that was the Yavin 4 ceremony dress, but
okay.
it may have been in the white.
Well,
Oh, I have the short-lived Black Series 3 3/4 of Leia in the white, or the Tantive 4 outfit, we will say.
that really the one that got me was Prince Xijor. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I that looked great.
That's a great looking figure.
It was great when it was out back in the day with Shadows of the Empire, and it still looks good today. So yeah, that wouldn't be one where I'd be like, all right, Shadows was one of my favorite things in the '90s. I might pick that one up just to add to the collection.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
kind of
a
weird like
definite.
that. Yeah, I like different ones. One just like this. I mean, why do I have this? Well, I mean, it just means something more to me to have Jackson, right? I
Right.
mean, so he kind of falls into that realm of things as well. Just like where is it? Like the Thrawn, Mara Jade, and Luke 6-inch Black Series, right? I mean, those
Right.
are fantastic characters. They weren't even in movies, but they mean something to me. So
I'm going to be honest. I want every single Black Series figure I can buy. That's just me. I'm honest about it, but the price is too high, and the supplies aren't great. I have a very weird way of buying that makes no sense at all.
you don't pre-order.
I don't pre-order. I very rarely order anything unless it is a must-have, or a great deal. But I have a really bad habit of putting figures back because there's not one that I want to buy. So for me, there has to be an A figure. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you give me that A figure on the shelf, I might buy 3 more. But without the A, I'm not buying the Pike Guards. I'm not buying the Tusken Raider. So,
No.
Like I think Hera is the one that I'm missing from Ahsoka, and
I think
there's
I
not
just saw
another
her. Just saw her at Target. I think
there's like 8 of them at Walmart, and I will not buy it because there's not an A list Black Series figure.
I can see what you're saying though, because they almost should. You know how they're doing with NBA games now, to where it's like, hey, if LeBron's in town, we're going to sell these tickets for $100. If the Memphis Grizzlies are in town, we're going to sell them for $65. Right? The dynamic pricing. They should almost have the dynamic pricing on the Black Series. If you're the ones everybody's going to want, go ahead and go ahead and charge the $25 a piece. But then for the other ones, don't hit me for the guy from Kessel, right? That's sitting
Right.
there. You're like, why do I want this? I'll pay $10 for it. Might even pay 15, but I definitely am not going to pay $24.99 for it.
Yeah, I'm going to roll the dice, and will it be at Ollie's?
Correct.
Now, when they're at Ollie's and they're $9.99, I cannot say no to them. I just can't. I'll buy every single one of them.
And those pictures you sent me from Ollie's the other day, those things were fully loaded. Absolutely crazy.
The thing is so many of those figures I looked hard for, and they were never on the shelf. And now here they are, boxes of them for $9.99. Whose fault is that? I really don't know. And that's what really blows my mind, because I can remember, sitting. I worked third shift at the time. Let's go down memory lane a little bit here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wake up, and you got all the CNN, Fox News, ABC, everything. Lucas sells Star Wars to Disney. I've got texts from all these people. Hey, do you know this? Have you what's going on? Whatever. My first thought was, man, this is really going to suck. Disney, the shelves are going to be full of just all this junk, and everything's going to be Disneyfied. But it was like that for a little bit with The Force Awakens, and then after that, it all disappeared.
I agree. I don't know if you saw that I tweeted out or retweeted out the right before the show. I think a little before there's a guy who had pictures of just full aisles of toys, whether it was Transformers, Star Wars, whatever, He-Man, like just full. That's not anywhere anymore. That's not how it is anymore with anything.
No.
Some people
and everything is priced to the collectors.
Yeah.
I do not buy the vintage collection anymore. I'm sorry. I'm not paying $20 for a 3 3/4 figure. And not even for, I looked at Star Killer for a long time, and I put it back. It's not worth $18, $20 to me. Not for that small of a figure.
Agreed. Hey, we have a guy who just joined us who saved a house tonight and just was in Colorado, and he's messing with his hair. D-Doc, how you doing, brother?
Looks like I got some glue in my hair. That's
I
great.
see it now.
Glue in the hair. How are you?
Sorry, guys. Sound good and everything?
Yes.
I think
I'm not too loud. Everything's coming through good. Good. Yeah, one of our parents who I don't know in our grade school, Catholic school, tight-knit group.
Mhm.
Someone texted my wife that her friend who also goes to our school, they had their shower handle break off. The water was off to their house. So I went and saved that situation real quick. And here I am now. I just ate my dinner like a cartoon character when I got home. Just because I wanted to be on Roll the Galaxy podcast tonight. Every now and then, if you're away from the podcast, if you miss a week or something, you feel the strings pulling you in. You feel lost without it. So I'm happy I was able to get on with you guys still.
Well, we love having you here. We have a couple things to cover. One, Saquon Barkley is incredible. Let's just all say that together. But Alfie's team is 3-0 in football. We played catch up on that. And you and I are playing each other this week.
I'm ready. I was looking at some waiver wire moves. Wayne Bush. Man, I had Wayne Bush beat. I seriously, I forget. I don't know which player it was that took me down, but I looked at our score and I thought I was going to lose to him. And I looked at our score and I was projected I think it was 97% win or something. I'm like, oh, I'm good. And then I checked the score at the end of Monday night and I'm just like, I lost by not even 1 point or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What a matchup. Good game to Wayne Bush.
It was a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the activity between the owners and the league. A lot of fun comments, and Wayne's in 6 fantasy football leagues.
Wow.
I'm in 2 with him, and so yeah, he has a full plate when it comes to fantasy football. But
That's wild. Two is enough for me
me too.
because then my 2 teams that I have are pretty similar. Like in my other league that I've been doing for years with my buddies, probably 10 years now at this point. I have a lot of my main characters, on both sides. So I've Saquon on both teams, and that I'm just happy I got him and he's doing well.
Yeah,
So.
he is. He's tearing up. He's having a good time.
Hey,
He's-
Steelers 3-0, right?
My wife and I are still talking about maybe coming out there and figuring out a way to go to the Steelers Eagles game with you in December.
Yeah,
So,
we gotta look at that. It is probably going to be a pretty penny to go.
yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll see if we
figure
can make it
something
work. Since I'm not getting to see it at ICCC, I want to make sure I get to see you here, or there or whatever. So we'll figure out a plan on that. But how was Colorado, brother? I know you gave me a rundown of being out there and having fun. I've only flown into that airport in Denver and flown out. Never been anywhere in Colorado.
So it was awesome, and it was one of those things where I give Meg credit for it because it's something that I probably wouldn't have done. Where my brother asked if we wanted to go out there because they were going to a wedding to watch my nephew the one night. And Meg was like, we can go out there and watch him that one night, but the rest of the time we'll be in, Denver. It'd be amazing to go see all this stuff. So I don't like heights. That's one thing I'll say. And it's like, once I'm around it for a bit, I can get used to it. But man, Boulder, Colorado, which is right where, the college, Colorado State is, or
Colorado State, possibly. Yeah, I don't.
Is Colorado State the one that Dion coaches, or
Colorado.
is it just Colorado?
That's Colorado.
Colorado is in Boulder, and
Okay.
then there's the Flatiron Mountains right near it, and there's a road that travels up it, and you just stand on you stand on the edge of this mountain on this big outlook, and you can just see the stadium and their campus down there. That college is in such a cool location. It was amazing to see those mountains in person. You take pictures of it while you're there and everything, but it's like, that's a trip I would recommend to anyone, just to go there and just walk around. We went to Golden, Colorado, which is where the Coors factory is. We didn't get to go in there because they were like, you need to book it like 2 months in advance or something like that to go in and see that factory. Because apparently it's the largest brewery that there is in the country. So,
Didn't know
that's
that.
just right in the middle of the mountains, which is crazy to see. Yeah, there was a lot of good food out there. Awesome stuff. I mean, the city is not for me. We stayed in the city. All the cool stuff was outside of it for me. So,
Okay.
yeah, it was very cool. If you're ever considering just going out there to walk some trails or, see the mountains, you don't even need to have a plan. You can just drive, and next thing you know, you're near like a state park or like a parking area for these amazing trails that are like totally set up. You don't need to be a mountain climber to go out there and experience, what there is to offer out there. My palms were sweating a little bit. Plus, Mrs. Doc was driving around those curves, and I was like a little terrified, kind of, but
It sounds to me like Mrs. Doc is a little bit of a risk taker.
she is.
Yeah.
And I'm like Mr. Play It Safe. So she she's the reason that I get out and actually do stuff.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. You need to have a yin and a yang in a relationship. Alfie, which one of you is a risk taker, you or Robin?
I'm probably more of the risk taker, I would say, but I'm also the introvert and she's the extrovert.
Okay. You have to, for years, my wife would sit there and go, how do we work as a relationship? We're totally opposite.
Completely.
And
We're
I
the
would
same.
And I would say, but that's why it works.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We even each other out, right? I'm the risk taker, outgoing one. Lori would rather not take the risks, and she's got 3 or 4 friends. She's like, that's all I need. I don't need to talk to
That's
anybody
all I
else.
need.
That's right. So,
I've got
yeah.
3 friends already. I don't have room for a 4th.
Well,
It all
cool.
balances out. It all
It does.
balances out.
It does. And then you get to see your kids grow up, and you get to see which one's going to turn into you or which one's going to turn into your wife. And that's a fun little learning experience to go through that. Now I get to wait and see what the grandkids turn into.
There you go.
Hey, by the way, it is National Daughters Day. Just in case you didn't know that, or make sure if you got a daughter, tell them Happy National Daughters Day. I don't think it requires a gift or anything. It's not up there with Valentine's Day, birthdays, all that kind of stuff. But at least give them a shout out there for all the daughters who listen to our show. Congrats. Happy National Daughters Day. There you go. And we all have daughters, so that's good. We bounce around
Lucky
a lot.
us.
Yeah, that's right. Lucky us.
Are we all the same? Oldest boy and two daughters after?
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Interesting.
That is. No wonder we work so well together here.
There you go.
Speaking of that, Joey has his son first, then his daughter. I'm guessing if they have a third, it'll probably end up being a daughter as well. He'll follow along. But my daughter Maddie, while we were on vacation, we got to be around Frankie, obviously 24/7 for the whole week, and hence the 24/7, I guess I should say. But she said, Joey was like 4 or 5 when I was born, so I never got to experience what it was like to be around Joey when he was 1, 2, 3, whatever. She goes, I'm watching Frankie, and I've seen what Joey was like at 2 years old. Being around Frankie, I already know this is exactly. And my wife and I are like, yep, pretty much. It's
Like a little tornado going through your house.
Yep, just a wild man, just nonstop, full of energy, talking his head. He talks more than I do, so that's a lot. But so yeah, but we've bounced around on a few topics. D-Doc, are there any topics from this week of all the stuff we bounced around that you want to hit on or cover before we go into some more that are out there?
I'm thinking. I mean, I saw some Star Wars news. I saw some pictures from, oh my gosh, the new show, Skeleton Crew, which Alfie had shared with us, but I saw them, promoting them a little more. They had Jude Law in one picture where it looked pretty cool, where you can see, him in the forefront and the crew in the background. And yeah, I think this little villain crew in Skeleton Crew is going to be really interesting with that Wolfman. Is he from the EU or no?
There was one in the cantina in episode 4.
Yep. I don't know that it's the same one, right? It's just
No, it's not the same one. It's the same species. And I think there's a different Wolfman species that's in the Force Awakens, because they're smaller, that are walking through Maz's bar.
Yeah, here, I'll share. Did you guys already touch on this topic?
Not those characters. We talked a little bit about Skeleton Crew, but nothing too major. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Arrigis and Alfie, is that Urkel right there behind?
That's Urkel.
Yeah.
Which this is kind of cutting it off, but that one pirate from
Mando.
He was in the background of it as well. Which I don't know why that makeup on the face of that pirate, for some reason, something's just weird about it to me. It looks like a little too human / alien to me, but it does look good. It's just weird to me. And there's A-list actor Jude Law.
There we go.
Standing behind him.
Hey, you guys never know. I mean, this might rekindle the Jude Law love affair in Hollywood. He might come out of this. Let's face it, most people who leave Star Wars have a huge fan base afterwards, right? Like Hayden Christensen, what did he do really that much after Star Wars? But people still love him, and he is he walks on water, man. People just he was just at Ewan McGregor's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he announced him or brought him out and all that stuff. So, yeah. What do you think, Alfie? You think he's gonna reignite his stardom with this series?
Well, hopefully some people see him in this and want to go back and watch Enemy at the Gates, to see a little more Jude Law, and that is an excellent movie. So yeah, I could see that.
Enemy at the Gates is incredible.
That's a great movie.
I would work weekends, and I had a friend of mine who taught me so much. He was a veteran. He loved big gun guy, and he's just like, you have to watch Enemy of the Gates. I never saw it, and we were working on a weekend maintenance crew. He brought in the mobile DVD player.
Oh my gosh!
This was a couple years ago too, like maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He brought in the mobile DVD player with his DVD and was just like, I will handle any calls that come in for the next like 2 hours. He's like, I just want you to sit and watch this. I'm just like, all right, fine. And that was a hell of a movie. So,
what was the one he was in that was like Space Age? It was very, gosh, I feel like it had a weird name too. It was him and the guy from
Day of Tomorrow. What was that called? It was in black. No, it wasn't in black and white, but it was a real weird color scheme.
Sky Captain.
That's the one. Yep.
Sky Captain. I thought he was in one that was like a utopian or dystopian kind of thing as well, where it was there's a blonde-haired actor opposite of him, and like a female lead. It was the three of them in like some futuristic thing as well, but I'm blanking on it. You guess
Galactica?
There we go. Was it Gattaca?
Something like that.
Yeah. There we go. That's the one I was thinking of. And then of course he's in the Christmas movie with Jack Black, Kate Winslet, and Cameron Diaz. What's the name of that one? I'm blanking it.
Is that Love Actually?
No. Come on.
Yes,
I love this game.
Yeah. Come on. You guys should be able to IMDb it right there.
I'm already on his IMDb. He's just been in so many movies that it's hard to find all of them. He's been in 88 movies. Like, that's pretty wild.
Crap. Talented Mr. Ripley? Was he not in that?
The Sherlock Holmes movies.
He was. He was Watson.
Yeah.
Brent right now is listening and going, he's not that level of an actor.
Up.
He's in the movie Cold Mountain. You ever see Cold Mountain?
No.
He is the love interest of Nicole Kidman in that movie.
Yes, he
Cold
is.
Mountain. Enemy at the Gates. Where's this Christmas movie Joe is talking about?
Come on. You guys.
The Holiday.
The Holiday. There we go. He's there. Cameron Diaz comes to England. Kate Winslet goes to LA. They swap houses or something like that. It's a very cute movie.
And then he's in the Fantastic Beasts movies, which I only watched the first one, and I just didn't love it, so I never finished the other two. But he did play Dumbledore in those. I mean, that's an interesting casting. You don't just cast anyone to play Dumbledore, you know?
Nope. No, I'm looking forward to seeing how he pulls this off. I think he'll do a good job with it. But I'm looking forward to this show actually as well. D-Doc, have you watched the Rebuild the Galaxy Lego show?
Believe it or not, I haven't watched it yet, which is crazy. I need to watch it.
I watched the first 3 episodes. They were entertaining. So you definitely, Mr. Lego Man, you need to go check it out.
Yeah, I'm dropping the ball on that right now. I feel pretty disconnected. This is what always happens. I'm doing a bathroom renovation for someone right now. That's why I went to this call after doing it. Anytime I'm doing a bathroom renovation, I feel like my mind is just like all over the place.
I really think football season has something to do with it. School and football season throws us all out of our summer rotation. We have to get a new rotation and plan put together.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like with you guys having kids in sports, it definitely adds another wrinkle into it, to our activities. I just, my wife and I binge shows, watch football, and then make sure we do whatever the kids or the grandkids need. So it's throwing us into a new loop here. But I at least wanted to check it out. And with being on vacation last week, I didn't check it out because I didn't want to just take the time to go and break away from everybody and watch it. So since we've been back, I've just snuck in and been like, oh, I'll check this out here or there. We're quick on lunch, just do a quick viewing, and they're not that long of episodes.
That Captain America statue you sent us was awesome. Looked like guys like threw it together with a bunch of like parts and everything. That
Yeah.
was really cool.
Oh, I loved it. I wanted to take it home. I was like, oh, I want this, and they were like, can we just get a picture with you? I was like, yeah, get my picture with Cap. That's good. That was fantastic. That was outside of one of those beach stores, right? That you just go in and buy a million T-shirts for $9.99.
I figured it was outside of some like big comic book shop or something.
No. And we didn't, down there in Destin, we didn't go search out anything, whether it's related to Star Wars, toys, anything like that. It was,
I always got to check out the Target there.
we didn't even do that. Gosh,
Yeah,
man.
I've gotten some good clearance Black Series figures there every time I go to Destin.
You know what's weird, and I'm going off topic here, but you just made me think of it, is I feel like I just am not paying attention to any Black Series stuff anymore for a little while now. And it's like I get the Ollie's deals if I'm around there, but it's like even if I go to Target, it's like I've kind of been looking at the Star Wars Legos. I'll see what they have in Black Series, but is Black Series like hurting right now? Do you think their sales are solid still? Like for like new Black Series figures? Do you think they're like, people are pre-ordering a ton of them still and like doing all that?
Oh yeah, they're still pre-ordering a lot.
I don't know. It just feels there hasn't been much to get me excited about other than that Anakin mold that you sent that might come out.
And seeing that stash was at Ollie's that Alfie sent our way, I started looking and going, there's an entire end cap of just $9.99.
There's 2 end caps.
Oh my god.
2.
That gets me excited. I feel like maybe being able to find them at Ollie's has ruined like the Target hunt for me, maybe just because it's been so long that I'm not willing to spend the full price that it's like, because I remember you were really buying them a decent amount too, Joe. And I remember when you kind of stopped, me and Alfie were really hitting it hard still. And I feel like I might be in that random stage where I'm just like, even the new ones, I will buy Anakin full price if I see that the second I see it. It's just a handful of figures that I would buy at full price though. Like the Luke Skywalker Mandalorian figure. I bought that the second I saw it, even when it didn't have the display, like the clear box, because it was just sick. But I don't know. They had the Acolyte figures come out. Those were underwhelming. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a whole stock of those at our Walmart that I check every, week or so, and they haven't been touched.
They will be in Ollie's like in 2 weeks.
Or just shredded, as Alfie said, in the being a plastic shredder. So it's really weird. I'm much more like right now, if I see just an Obi-Wan that blows me away, a Rex, the anything related to Heir to the Empire. Yeah, like that's
they
a
have
good
that
looking,
one at Ollie's.
Yeah,
it's a great looking figure.
Was it $9.99 or $14.99?
this was $9.99, and
Yeah.
that's an instant buy for me. I don't know. It's funny. I'm sitting here saying I'm out on it, but the deals are what get me more excited than what they're coming out with, just because there's stuff I would like. I want an episode 3 Anakin. I think a lot of people want it, but they're not going to do it. I don't know why, but
you'll go through phases of it. I mean, honestly, it's kind of crazy. I don't know. I'm off of it right now, and it's been refreshing. Like I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I have the pressure to go search and find and all that kind of stuff. Hey, right there, look at that. Our friend Aaron from Hyperspace Heroes, Brown Leader, hopping in there saying hello.
My story may change once I'm at ICCC though, because
It will. I'm the
I
same
mean,
way. I look at Target, I look at Walmart every time I go, and I put them back. They're too expensive, and they're just not any like really exciting ones that are out right now. I go to Ollie's like once a month, and they probably have 20 different Black Series there, and I think there was 3 maybe that I haven't bought so far. That I went there Friday or Monday, and I'll go back and buy those after ICCC.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your stories from that, your pictures from that. Man, it's so crazy that Mark Thompson and Timothy Zahn are going to both be there. Just so wild to think of that.
maybe I should try to knock out the Thrawn series before we go. Maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea on my part.
On the audiobooks?
Yeah.
The original or the second one?
Whatever ones Mark Thompson narrates. I did start the one with Mark Thompson though, so I need to finish it. I'm gonna have to start it over again. It's been too long. But yeah, that's something I don't have enough knowledge of, I will say.
I would say hold on one second. Good old Brown Leader here and I are trying to get this set up here. I was going to have him. Here we go. I was trying to see if he would hop on with us because we were trying to put a show together with him, and it never worked out timing wise with us only having 1 week before ICCC. I'm just sending him the link if he wants to come on and talk a little ICCC with you guys before you head down there. Hey, real quick before Aaron hops on, if he can, Jedi Fallen Order. Did I see they're coming out with another Jedi Fallen Order?
Yes, there will be a third game.
Third game
in development now.
And the star of that show is star of that game is Cal Kestis.
Mm-hmm.
And Alfie, I'm going to follow again with you on this. Are we looking at having Cal Kestis in live action soon?
You know, again, that was
grain of
something
salt.
Yeah, it came out today. I've heard of, for a while now. Why wouldn't you? A popular character. It's a great game. It's a great story. I think I talked about it a little bit with the Scarif. What's his name on Twitter?
Yeah.
He said, "How would you introduce him?" I said, "It's easy. You have the path and from Kenobi. You should have done this from the beginning. You totally dropped the ball. The path in Kenobi, it leads to his sanctuary planet in the game. Rey finds it in the trilogy. It's easy. It writes itself.
Wow.
Right? And then you say, well, what about age? Well, because The Last Jedi didn't,
keep going, Alf.
Was messed up time-wise. They had to come back and say, oh, well, on Force planets, time works differently. That's why there was 3 days on with Luke in the fleet when they left, only had 12 hours of fuel or whatever, right?
Oh.
So he doesn't age because they're on a Force planet. There you go. See, it's easy.
Here we go. I love it. Alfie, we could have Quinlan Voss, Asajj Ventress, and Cal Kestis.
Right. All of that. They're all there. They haven't aged.
Correct.
And then if you want to get real technical about it, it's fucking Space Wizards. Just make some shit up. Nobody really cares.
Hey, while Alfie is telling us how we should have fixed all these things, we've been trying to get this put together, and looks like Aaron had some free time. So Brown Leader of Hyperspace Heroes is here with us. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, great.
All right. Rock on. Yeah. How's it going?
We're having a great time. We're just chatting about a little bit of everything, hitting a little bit of every topic as we tie things up in a bow before next week when everybody heads off to the ICCC.
Right on.
So real quick, what's your guys' plan? When are you guys heading down? When are you guys heading back? All that kind of stuff for the Hyperspace Heroes.
So we're shooting down Tuesday, actually. We're going to come down. Yeah. So Scruffy wants to do some more sightseeing in Nashville. So we're going to come down Tuesday. We've got extra days on the rooms, and we're going to be at the Sheraton. And Wednesday, we're going to check in with Jim and the crew and help them do any last minute setup for the podcast stage area.
Awesome.
And then he wants to go hit the game terminal for the afternoon, which is his new favorite hangout when we're down there. It's all 80s and 90s vintage arcade games, free to play. They've also got about 200 pinball machines, and which you do pay to play if you want to play those. They've got a bar, seating area. You can rent a table, hang out. They've got outdoor games. It's for people our age, it's a very cool spot to hang. We were there for like 4 hours last year, one evening, didn't pay a cent. I mean, obviously if you want to grab drinks and stuff like that, but it's all your classic arcade, so in the stand-up boxes and everything from our childhood. So like they do have the 3-in-1 Star Wars, so I played all 3 games on that. But yeah, didn't remember sucking that bad at Spy Hunter. Trying all the different games. But yeah, it's a cool hangout. So we're going to do that on Wednesday afternoon. And then, and then just nothing but ICCC for 4 days.
So D-Doc, just let you know, an arcade is where people before you were born.
I know about them. There was still some arcades in the 90s. There was still some arcades in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not like what you guys had in the 80s, obviously, because that was like the real deal.
Back in the 80s, remember when they'd tell you like it's going to hurt your eyes, or we're all going to be have bad posture because we'd all be leaning over the games and all this kind of, it's sucking your brain out of your head just looking at that screen all day. I think we all turned out fine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all doing okay.
Maybe, sort of.
You remember being able to feel the TV turn on in your living room? Like that fuzzy, like electricity coming off of it?
The wave of ozone.
Fine. Yeah, we're fine.
D-Doc, I'm sorry. We're just so much older than you. It's not even...
Spy Hunter
microwave that took 5 people to install in your kitchen. We're okay.
Spy Hunter was they had at my dentist, they had Centipede, they had Spy Hunter and Pac-Man. So I always liked going to the dentist because I got to play. I wanted to play Spy Hunter the whole time, and that's a tough game. It had the steering wheel was just so cool on it though.
Man.
And you had to push a gas pedal to make it go, and the throttle or the shifter. Yeah.
Anytime you got to the bridge, that's when it started getting a little crazy because you had the cars that can hit you over the guardrail. I used to play so much Spy Hunter, man. I loved that game.
Last year when we were down there, I couldn't even get to the bridge. I just was like, after a few times, I'm like, it's unlimited credits, but I was like, I'm done.
You get the smoke screen, you get the oil slick and everything. I loved that game.
Love it. Arcade talk on Rule the Galaxy. This is fantastic.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm real quick with Brent not being here with us again. He and Adam did a great job on the show last week, just talking Star Wars Legion, a little bit of stuff. I've offered to them. They do Garrison Talk. It's a show on Spotify only. I'm trying to have them join forces and be Rule the Galaxy Garrison Talk. So we're working on that to add that as an extra show into the loop here with what we do. Hopefully they will take us up on that because it's no skin off their Astrobulla, right? They can just show up and use what we do. So
right.
So hopefully we'll get more Legion talk here coming soon. But arcades, I had the attention span for Legion. Like we said, I don't have the attention span for it because some of those games can take 3 and 4 hours. And while it's fantastic and awesome, I'm adult ADD, man. I got to bounce around and move and not just sit there like that. So
right on.
So I real quick, just throwing out another crazy topic. Saw something, just an article I was reading, and they were like, "Hey, Star Wars has got to fix this and fix that." And the way they can fix it is Thrawn has to be the big bad guy in Mando and Grogu. Do we feel like that Thrawn has to be the big bad in that show? Is that where it needs to be with being in the same timeline as the Ahsoka and the stuff? I'll start with Aaron because he's saying no right now, and then we'll go to Alfie from there.
I think it's going to be Sigourney Weaver.
Think she's going to be the big bad?
Yeah, I think she'll be an Imperial Remnant officer or something because I don't see her doing combat scenes or anything. So I think it's going to be more, they blow up the headquarters or the capital ship and she's on the bridge or she's in the tower or something. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, as long as we don't get another Christopher Lloyd appearance, they kind of did him dirty a little bit, I think, in Mando in that one episode. I think we were all expecting so much more out of his role in that episode. But no, I mean, let's face the facts. She's up there, so I don't really see her going toe to toe with Lateef in the Mando suit or something, and unless they're going to CGI it, but then what's the point? But Thrawn, I think he'll be, honestly, I think what they should do is, well, I mean, they've already revealed Thrawn, but if they had gone the same route as, what's his name in the Marvel universe, and just kind of teased him through these different series.
Thanos?
Thanos, and had done the Thanos approach, and then brought him out. I think that would have been a little more intimidating. But
Okay.
no, I think they're going to save him. Well, they'll bring him back for Ahsoka season 2, obviously.
Gotcha. Alfie, what about your thoughts?
I don't think he necessarily has to be the big bad, but I think, and this was my one complaint with the Ahsoka series, I think he has to be Thrawn. And I think he was a little lacking in Ahsoka. Thrawn wouldn't have needed days to load everything onto the Star Destroyer and have to try to delay Ahsoka and Sabine and Ezra and all that crap. He definitely wouldn't have had the hangar open for Ezra to be able to jump on or whatever. He would have been ready. You know what I'm saying? That's not Thrawn. Thrawn would have been, the minute they entered, his plan would have started and they would have been gone before they had a chance to mount a counter offensive. But then again, I get it because it's a TV show. You need some plot. I get that. But he needs to be more calculating and basically just ready, I think. He needs to be that heir to the Empire, Thrawn.
I think for the most part he was, but didn't they say, wasn't there a line or something about like he was a little surprised that they showed up, like he didn't know they were coming? And so it seemed to me like he had things ready. It's just it just takes time because you don't preemptively dig up the graves, down in the tomb, right? And just have them sitting, out of respect to the space witches. I mean, I would guess
the space witches and Morgan were supposed to have been communicating back and forth, I guess, or I would have thought they knew they were coming and he would have been more ready.
Yeah,
I think part of it was they didn't have enough ice supply to put those bodies just sitting on ice, like have them out there, in the sun. They need, they need to keep them back in the catacombs. I get it. Yeah.
It was pretty kind of a Scotland environment, wasn't it? So it probably got cold, but not ice cold, right?
We've talked about 100 times. I don't think any of us know where we're going in the future with all this. Is it going to be a takeoff of the Thrawn trilogy, but in a different format? If so, he's going to be in that spot at some point in time as the big bad, I guess. I just hope they don't do Sigourney Weaver in like a Garsa Fwip kind of outfit. I don't need to see her doing that and being a Twi'lek.
I'll just put Alien on if I need anything.
What is oh my God, what is the name of the woman who takes care of Grogu at the hangar in the Mandalorian?
Peli Motto.
Yeah. Maybe she's going to be Peli Motto's sister. They kind of look like each
They
other.
do. We made that joke when Peli first came on the screen, in that Mando season. It was a cheap Ellen Ripley ripoff.
Love it.
Yeah, maybe it'll just be her sister. But I think that's a good point. She probably will be. She's such a big name to land for that, which they've been filming that. If you follow Lateef Crowder, like he's going to the soundstage every day on Instagram. He's sharing those stories of him just going there playing music. he'll just show him driving, and then he'll
Mhm.
turn around, and it'll just be the soundstage. So
Well, and Brendan canceled for ICCC, so to have to film his schedule, so we can only hope that that's what it's for.
don't let the Pedro Pascal fans hear that, because
Yeah.
Pedro
over it.
is really the Mandalorian. He has no credit. That
So-
was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Was
So-
when people were like coming at him for that.
Holy cow.
I picked this up at Motor City Con, and one of my goals is to get Brendan, Latif, and Pedro to eventually all sign it, because to me, I was so happy in season 3 when they started including Latif and Brendan in the main
Mhm.
credits, because they deserve it, right? And look, we get it. He's the man. I mean, everybody wants him. So if he's reduced to a voice actor for a couple seasons and it's Brendan and Latif doing most of it, I'm okay with that. That's fine. We still get the feel. And if he pops up in we see his face in a couple scenes, that's fine. But if we don't either. Because one of the cool things about the Mando is we don't see his face very often.
Yeah. I'm
Which
down with that.
I agree with that. And that's why I just found it weird where it was like people were trying to discredit like Brendan Wayne, where they're like, you don't have claim to this character. It's Pedro's character, blah, blah. It's like, these guys are all cool with each other. You're creating ridiculous controversy. These guys all work together to create
Right.
this character. It's a,
Mhm.
a labor of love, you could say, from all of them. So, I don't know. That was just a fun time in the internet when that was going on.
Well,
Mhm.
one of the things I think that was really rubbing the Pedro stance the wrong way was, it being a Bo-Katan heavy season.
Mm-hmm.
In the interviews she was doing, she was constantly referring to her and Brendan and never saying, well, me and Pedro were, we came up with this, kind of we're playing off of each other. Are they, romantically involved, blah, 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 blah. So he was getting a lot of publicity from her in that he's mainly the Mandalorian as far as the story goes.
Yep.
And that's fine. And we got the scene with Miggs Mayfield blasting the Imperial in season 2. We got that scene where we got a lot of facial reaction out of Pedro, and he did a great job. But it's Mando. We're there to see Mando helmets, Mando armor, jetpacks, Mando fighting. We're not there, honestly, to see a lot of their faces. So
Yeah. The scenes where they went back to the group with the armor leading them with all those different Mandos there was one of my I could have done maybe without the bird thing a little bit or whatever, or whatever that took them up into the nest. It was a little clunky maybe in some of those scenes, but I loved all them being together and the variety of how they all looked. That's what people want. Like right now, the shelves should be full of 10 different styles of Mandalorians, right? Alpha, you've said it all the time. It's there. Just repaint them all. Put them out and boom.
Or
there you go.
here's an even wilder idea. Why aren't they on the shelves when the show is on?
Yeah. I mean, nobody's
I'm
going to be
sorry,
really that
but
upset.
Right. I know we live in Podunk, Indiana or whatever, but I am not paying full price for Book of Boba Fett figures from a show that was 2 years ago. If they would have been on the shelf 2 years ago, I would have bought every single one of them, but now I could care less.
Well, they proved they can do it because they had the figures ready for Acolyte. So, they had them. They know they can do it. It's just I agree with you guys. I listen to you guys on the regular, so I've always listened to your Toy Talks, and I'm about the logistics issues. They obviously have a logistics issue when like you even said it earlier tonight, when you find cases of figures at Ollie's that you never saw in the pegs in the stores. That's a problem. That's a real problem.
I say every time we talk about this, and we constantly talk about logistics, and then the other aspect is, well, you don't want things spoiled. Okay, that's fine. But do you realize how many times, me and my little one have gone to Target and we bought Jurassic Park stuff? She didn't care if it was spoiled. You know what she cared about was that giant T-Rex display, and the shelves were full. Hey, that looks cool. I want to play with that.
Alfie, I do have to know, though, if during Book of Boba Fett, if the rainbow collection of speeders would have been available to you, would you have bought all of those?
Again, we're going to have to... There's a price point that I feel comfortable paying for things.
Yes.
And I can't say that I wouldn't. I really didn't have a problem with those as much as other people did. I get that they were colorful, I get that they really looked slow and weird, but that was also, if you have ever seen Spy Kids, I mean, that's kind of like his style. So,
Gosh, I forgot Spy Kids.
yeah.
Man.
That and it's a direct tie back to the mods of the 60s in England.
Yes.
You know, with the scooters and all the attachments and the mirrors and the colors,
Which
and
was a direct nod to the mods being post Empire. Everything in the Empire is gray, and all of a sudden, these kids, there's no
Yeah.
stormtroopers anymore. So they make bright. I get it. Did it work? Not really. Did it bother me so much? Not really. I mean, it was like one sequence.
Well, you know, like I think any kind of speeder bike kind of setup is really cool anyway. Because you think about Return of the Jedi, that speeder bike was very minimal, right? Like there wasn't much to it. It was
No.
very small, little seating area, and then very sleek at the front. Then they came out with the swoop riders for when
Shadows.
Shadows, and with the re-release of A New Hope and all that kind of stuff, right? I bought up a bunch of those because I just thought those were kind of cool things. Like you're thinking to yourself, man, this is different, right? And then Anakin's on a speeder bike, and and all that kind of stuff. So one of my favorite things of Star Wars are the speeder bike setup. So I didn't have a problem with it either, and I get it because if you look at it now, like you got Harley riders, and then you got people who are on neon, pocket rockets going down the street here in Indy, right? And you see them. There we go.
There we
Speeder
go.
bike. But so it's a different style, right? Like that's those people showing their personality and their individuality on those mods right there. So I don't know. I think actually people would have bought them as much as they buy anything else.
Yeah. And I think that also goes to, we constantly hammer the price point. And like, I've brought this up many times. How did every kid in your neighborhood have a Millennium Falcon? But now I'm an adult that, I have my own money and I put things back because I'm like, this is ridiculous. The prices that they're asking for. That Royal Guard and TIE Pilot 2-pack is hitting Ollie's right now. Nobody's going to pay $60 for that. Not for 2 generic Black Series figures that you already have.
I kind of wonder what our parents, I listen to Scott Rifen and Steve Glosson talk about what their parents were saying. They always bring them up and mock them and everything back in the 70s. I'm not buying you $15 worth of plastic, all that kind of stuff. I guess I never paid attention to what my parents were saying about that stuff, but you're right. We had them, right? I had the Death Star. I had the Falcon, TIE Fighter, X-Wing, Land Speeder. I mean, just boom, 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 right down the list. And I know it was much cheaper back then, but let's face it, people weren't making what they're making right now when those things were coming out. So I got to think they're like, this much for a toy, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
not everything has to be HasLab,
true
level. And, I bring it up all the time. You guys don't listen to me, but whatever, the series that was out for little kids right now. I do not understand why they did not. I thought the prices on those were good. The Mission Fleet.
Yep.
And at some point, I think it's okay for us to say these are for children, and we should support these lines, because without the Kenner line, Star Wars, there's a good chance it wouldn't be what it is today.
Yeah.
The Heroes line that's out right now. Yes, they're generic, but at the same time, they're $7 compared to $20 for a much bigger figure that's made to play with. I understand not everyone has children, but I think it's okay to support those.
I bought a handful. I bought quite a bit of the Young Jedi Adventures characters for Frankie. I've got, the Jedis, the bad guy, Nub, all that. I've got some of those over here.
I don't understand that at all, because I know maybe I'm just in the minority here, but this is your show that you're producing, and you have your own children's channel. Why are you not advertising this? That stuff just rotted on the shelves because there's no advertising for it.
Yeah.
You literally have your own television station.
Commercials make you want to buy stuff as a kid too. Like, I mean, first thing that comes to my mind is Crossfire. I don't know if you remember Crossfire,
yes.
the game. Crossfire.
Fire.
So, like,
Yeah.
you would see that commercial and just be like, I need to have Crossfire.
I have to get that game.
Yeah. And people have kind of given up on that type of advertising. Now, on YouTube commercials, I will see certain things where it'll be like these surprise things and stuff like that. And it definitely does rope the kids in to want to get it. Like, I don't know. It's Disney Junior. It's been a minute since I've been locked in on it, but yeah, I don't see them advertise their own toys as much. And also, original price on this was $45.
And what'd you get it for at Ollie's?
$15.
I got the Ahsoka and Grogu. I know I'm telling on myself because I just said 20 minutes ago I don't buy the vintage collection, but they had Ahsoka and Grogu that was $28.99 or $29.99. I got for $4.99 at Ollie's.
Oh
Man.
So, Aaron, I know you guys each go down to ICCC with a plan usually of what you're looking for, things you want to get, whether it's Max Rebo stuff, whether, whatever. Do you guys have a plan right now as to what each one of you is on your checklist of must gets while you're down there?
I think the guys do. We haven't really discussed it much. We have a 12-hour car ride to talk all about it, so I'm sure we're going to be. Plus, I'm going to play them audio clips from Billy D's book because I've been listening to that, and I've got about 3 hours left on that book, and so we'll probably talk about it more there. For me, I do know. So my wife is not a collector of things, but all of a sudden, and maybe it's because I've been doing this for 3 years now, and but like we found an R2 for her, a vintage R2 at a swap meet here locally. So I'll be looking for a C3PO, a vintage looking one, just a Lucy.
Yeah.
Just in good. She wants to put it in an acrylic case and, put it in the curio cabinet, and that's fine. I'm not going to say no to that. For me, it's really going to be any decent condition R5s because I've been hanging with Scruff and DB so much. I got to build an army now, so I'm building an army of R5s.
Love R5.
And then for me, the rest of it is all podcasts. So hanging out in that room, been going over the master schedule, when to be in the main stage room, when to be in the podcast room, back and forth. Billy D is going to be a ticketed event. I don't know if they pass that along to you guys or not. We'll be in there because we'll have a table.
Yeah.
But it's a ticketed event. Tickets are free, but they are going to reach out to us podcasters to help pass out tickets and get them to people that are definitely going to be there because they want a full room for that. So Jim will probably, he'll be hitting you up on that when you guys get down there. I told him we could probably do at least a dozen tickets. I've been reaching out to other people that have been on the show and friends of the show and letting them know. And I think Warwick is going to be closed door. I don't know if it's going to be ticketed, but just contractual stuff. They want the doors shut on those. But yeah, there's times where we're going to have to split forces. They're going to have to be in the main stage. I'm going to have to be back in the podcast room because there's just so many good guests that I want to hear those 15-minute interviews on.
Oh yeah.
I also think about, I know I have a bag of dice somewhere in storage, and I got to find those because I might go. Jim said that Duck is actually going to DM some games at ICCC, and I haven't played in decades, and he's going to play second edition rules, which is what I played as a kid. So I might see if I can go do a round and just for the honor of playing with Duck and playing some D&D with him, because that'd be a riot, I think.
Talk about throwbacks. I remember being in junior high school playing Dungeons and Dragons, and yeah, I laid that down, did not really pick that back up ever again, but man, there was some crazy, it was like watching Stranger Things, right? Like when those guys were doing that, that show just made, those kids were the same exact age that I am, in that show, and watching them do that, I was like, holy crap, that was me in 1983, right? I mean, just crazy to think about. So that'd be wild to go and do that and play with a master like that. That's crazy. Yeah.
My son just started playing.
Really?
Yes. In the past few months.
D-Doc,
cool.
was your age group ever into D&D? Did it pass right by?
I never played it. I found a friend who was into tabletop gaming where I was going there, which D&D, obviously there's different, a little different, but I was going and playing all kinds of games with guys who played D&D. I was playing Star Wars X-Wing for about a year.
Mhm.
We were going there once a month, and we were playing a campaign, which was a printed out campaign where it was almost like you were playing against the computer. It was one of the funnest things ever. Me and my brother were buying figures at, Barnes and Noble and everything. Like, we were into it. If I had a group around me that would be into D&D or tabletop gaming, I would be all in on that kind of stuff. I just don't have the people around me to do it. Anytime I start to do that stuff, I immerse myself in it and like research it and figure it out. D&D is something I've always wanted to play and just have never played it. I would love to.
So one of the cool things we're going to do sometime this fall is we're actually going to play. I reconnected with one of my old D&D buddies from high school, and he is an independent game designer in Minnesota. And he connected me with this podcast called Coruscant Nights, and it's Star Wars role playing. And they do the whole podcast, and you hear them roll the dice. They make decisions, and it's based on
not those two books, right? The Coruscant Night books.
No. He just
I was like, wow, that'd be crazy.
He just calls it Coruscant Nights because all the stories are they're like what would be NPCs, right? Just in the background. And in his timeline, I think he's done 2 seasons, and it's all been like end of the Clone Wars and just after Order 66. And the first episode I ever listened to was one of their Halloween specials, and it's a Klatooinian chef that he and his buddy get salvage rights along with a few other crews to go up to this like ship up in orbit of Coruscant that's a mall, but it's been condemned from a battle or something, and they go up to salvage kitchen equipment because they want to open their own restaurant, and all of a sudden some sort of mutant yeast starts attacking everybody. And yeah, exactly, right. But they've got Ortolan private investigators. One of the best characters is this Mon Calamari named Carp that is a conspiracy theorist, and she's had a couple adventures that is just hilarious to listen to. But we've actually connected with them. We've created our characters, and we're actually going to play, and we're going to be featured in their season 3 that they'll start recording here pretty soon. And so I'm going to get a chance to go back and do some role playing because I haven't done any since. Yeah, it's been decades. But and funny enough, I'm going to play a Shistavanen, which is that werewolf person that you see in
Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew. And this is going to be we always call our podcast Hyperspace Heroes: The Legend of Brown Squadron. This is actually going to be the Legends of Brown Squadron in this adventure. So it's going to be kind of fun. It's gonna be a real blast.
You guys are taking things to another level. I'm going to throw this one out here real quick. It's just something I read before we got on the podcast. See if you guys have heard of this. So I guess right now in the Star Wars comics, which I'm not keeping up with, but I guess in Star Wars 50, I was reading an article that Luke was talking to Ben Solo. So obviously this is post Jedi, pre Force Awakens, and he was talking to Ben about the time frame between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Have you guys seen this thing or this article or news story? And during the conversation, he calls it the Hansicle time frame because Hansicle, who am I, Lando? Hansicle. I thought that was freaking hilarious, and I cannot believe they dropped that into a comic. I think they could have brought that out in some much bigger way to where people could talk about the Hansicle. But so Alpha, you saw this, right? Is that am I feeding that correctly?
Yes.
I don't know how this takes place. I mean, do you know better than me? Like it's
during some kind of training meditation. I quickly skimmed through a few pages of that, but yes, I saw it.
Wow, weird. These are all things. Go ahead.
That's almost something you'd expect to hear in Lego Star Wars, right?
Correct. Yeah.
that's a joke that they would crack, there.
Yeah. So I don't know, but Aaron, as you probably heard, I have a weird family thing that came up the day after I booked my hotel for ICCC. The day after that happened, I was told that I have to attend something the weekend of ICCC in Indiana. And my entire family told me how wrong I was if I didn't attend this. So while all I was thinking about is like pre-Christmas sugar plums and whatever in my head, all I had was Billy D. Williams dancing in my head. And that's all I could think about because I did the audiobook of his. I've got the cameo from him on my 50th birthday. Like I'm sitting there thinking how everything's coming together, right? Like I'm going to be in the same room and be able to maybe shake his hand or take a picture by him. And now that has all been pulled with the carpet, with the rug right out from underneath my feet. So yeah, I'm deeply distraught on that whole situation. But I do know, like the first year we went, it was me, Alfie, Brent, and one of our former co-hosts, Nick Shesky. D-Doc couldn't be there. Last year it was D-Doc, Alfie, and me. Brent couldn't be there. This year it looks like it's going to be Brent, D-Doc, and Alfie. So we're putting a wide variety of people together at different times. So I can't wait to see what these guys do when it's their turn to be on the podcast stage. Alfie, I'm sure you'll probably be leading that one, right? You'll be.
Oh
leading
yeah,
that stuff?
you know me.
Yeah.
I'm a talker. I can't stop myself.
Well, that's. I know you've been looking forward to that, Joe. I really do, and so now I don't feel so bad because so they Joe or Jim announced something on our show, which is they put all of our podcast names in a hat to see who would get the third chair, and we were selected. So
Nice.
if you want to, I'm gonna. Both guys chickened out right away. They're like, "You're good. You got to do it."
Wow.
Yeah. So if you want to slip me a question,
I think you probably from doing this audiobook, you're going to be prepared because in all actuality, I had in my mind before, if I ever got snuck in there or at least could even put a question up to him through somebody, I was going to talk about Brian's song because I thought how important it was for him and James Caan. Like he talks about in the book, the racial factors of that story were huge. And James Caan's one of my favorites. And until James Caan passed, they were friends and pals and would even work out together. And he says that in the book. So it was going to be something about that, or it was going to be something about him and James Earl Jones. And this was before James Earl Jones even passed, because of like half the book. And you know it. It was like I'm filling in this role that used to be James Earl Jones, or he's filling in this role that used to be me. Back and forth. And then they were in the movie together. Where the baseball, the traveling baseball team.
Bingo Long. Yeah.
Bingo Long. And I thought those are just like last year with the Emperor. Everybody wanted to ask Star Wars questions. And I was a goofball who went in the opposite direction. And that's the same thing I would do with this. So if you want to do something in honor of Joe and I can watch it. I
don't know how many questions I'll get. Who knows? In 15 minutes, it depends probably how talkative he is. But yeah, slip me a couple of questions, and I know I want to ask him about. He had one line in his book, and that he actually went to theater and art school for painting, not acting. And I was like, that fascinated me. And I've looked up some of his artwork, and so I was going to ask him about painting, and because it just, who were his influences, who does, that kind of thing. Cause it's such a little, it's not a very big part of the book, but I didn't know that,
Well, our friend of the show, Mark Newbold, and I think you guys have probably talked to him before, but Mark is fantastic. And I keep in touch with him all the time. And when I told him I interviewed the Emperor and I played, let him do a few questions, he was like, man, you went outside the box on that. And I said, well, I'm sure he gets asked the same question 100 times. So I wanted to give him something different. And then when I told him that I'm trying my best to be around Billy D. Williams, he said, do me a favor. He goes, I've interviewed him. Great man, entertaining man. He said, I interviewed him for 20 minutes. And for the first 15 minutes, I kept trying to pull Star Wars out of him. And he really was just kind of, He said, 5 minutes ago in the interview, I asked him about his paintings. He said, He didn't shut up for the next 10 minutes. He said, I thought I had him for 5 more minutes. He said for 10 minutes, all he did was talk about his paintings.
Well, good. I'll
He's
definitely ask that for sure.
he's very passionate. He's like a light bulb went and he just became Billy D. Williams. So yeah, put that in your back pocket. So
Yeah, for sure.
go ahead.
I'd ask him about. I'd probably ask him about Lost. If I was trying
Was
to
he
think of
in
something
Lost?
non-Star Wars, yes, he was. He was
Wow.
the Cobra in Lost. I think it was the second season, maybe, where there was a few episodes where they tried to do stories about the non-main characters that were on the plane, and 2 of them were actors on a kind of soap opera show. And when they were filming before they got on the plane and left, he turns around. He may have a line or two, and then you know how Lost was.
Yeah.
The story just keeps going. Some later time, someone finds those 2's luggage, and it has the script for the finale in it, which none of them on the plane obviously got to see. And he's like, "Oh yeah, this guy's the Cobra."
Wow.
Is this it, Alfie? Is that the scene?
Yeah, that's him.
Wow. Well, I mean, you can think about it. He finally felt so good because one, he got to be Batman in the Lego movies, or not. He got to be Harvey Dent in the Lego movies because originally in 1989 film, the second film was originally supposed to be him playing Harvey Dent as Two-Face.
Right.
And so he let you know in the book that bothered me. I wanted to play that role, and it got taken away from me. And when they let him do those kind of roles in Lego, he felt fulfilled. And I think it was really cool that he also spent time with Glover, and said basically, "I give you okay to play Lando," and Glover was like, "Hey, I'm playing you, right? Like I'm." Nobody's gonna be Lando. I'm just filling in and all this kind of stuff. It was great that they had that interaction before Glover played him in Solo. So
I wonder if he's ever seen the Lando Millennium Falcon in Steve Sansweet's collection. Do you guys
Don't
know about that?
no, was it the one with the cape thing and all that, or
He has a Lego Millennium Falcon that was made by an intern at Lego that is purple and yellow and has a Lando minifig with the paint in the paint roller.
wow,
That's cool.
that is cool. I guarantee he's not seen.
I only know that because his tour, like there's a video on YouTube where he walks through his, museum, and Azalea has probably watched that 1,000 times.
No, I have not. I've not seen it, but I want to go check it out. I'm actually going to write that down. Lando Millennium.
So I know, Joe, you haven't seen the last episode of Lego, and you guys haven't watched it yet. But in Rebuilding the Galaxy, but his role in that, because he does voice in that, and his role in that, great.
I
Just
can't
great.
wait. I'm
Just
gonna
great.
watch it tomorrow at lunch. That's my lunchtime show.
But so another podcast that we're friends with, Yubcast, Matt from there is coming to ICCC too. So he's been doing a deep dive on Billy D, and we were talking, and he sent me. So in 2009, there was an Adult Swim series called Titan Maximum, and he did the voice of a character named Admiral Bitchface.
Okay.
There you go, Doc. Yep, find it.
Love it.
And it's I watched a couple clips. None of the ones had him in it, but it's quite the snarky show. It was
Wow.
It was like Power Rangers meets Archer, and yeah.
Oh, my thumb's coming up again, guys. Look at that. I get the thumbs up again. I don't know.
So
Every
we had
time
who did we have? We had a guest on, and every time they did that, it would do that. And I've heard you guys talking about that too. And it must be something in your settings, Joe. And I forget who our guest was because it's never happened to us either.
it's
But
very
we
weird.
had one. It might have been. Was it Mike Havens? It might have been Mike Havens.
Oh, by the way, I loved your episode with we call him the Canadian comedian. I'm blanking his name.
Paul.
What's that?
Paul.
The
Or-
X-Wing? The
Yeah.
X-Wing?
Yeah. Paul Sun Hyung Lee.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
If you guys haven't listened to it, you should go back and listen. He's great in it. I know he had technical difficulties, which made it even more fun.
Oh my God. When I asked him about merchandise, I thought I had just like his reaction. I thought, oh my God, what did I just do? What did I just do? And the soundbite, and I'm never going to play the soundbite because I don't want to besmirch his character, but what he said in that bit, oh my God. I did separate that clip out. I'd love to make it a ringtone on my phone. But I think, Joe, you probably know the one I'm talking about. But he has some words about Hasbro, and it's oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
I think between him and Anna Graves, who we discussed 2 years ago at ICCC, I've talked to her, and lovely woman, sweet as can be. She's rather salty that there's no Duchess Satine anything. Yeah.
So there's been two characters in every single Mandoverse show, and that is Carson Teva and Ahsoka. They're the only ones that have been in all 4 shows, and you can't tell me that they can't do a Carson Teva action figure. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's wild.
I mean, come on, the guy has been in all 4 shows. Anyway, I can understand why he's bitter about it, and I would be too. I'm salty for him, and I'm not even in Star Wars, so it's like, it's crazy.
When my son is collecting Black Series, when he's like, whatever age, he's going to be like, oh, they're coming out with this new Carson Teva figure,
Garza Whip and Carson Teva.
Right.
Guy. We've gone long tonight. We usually try to go an hour and a half, but I'll go around the room. Aaron, thanks for joining. Thanks for coming on. I really wish we could have put it together. It was on me. I took a vacation last week. D-Doc was traveling.
Yep.
We had conflicts. I think you guys couldn't come like the week before or whatever. So I apologize, but
it's all good, brother.
Hearing the stories from your 3 and our 3 down there, I know you guys will have a good time. Any closing thoughts from you on anything you're getting ready for or doing or anything like that?
Yeah, we're just getting ready for ICCC. It's going to be a blast. We're going to go down, spend a couple extra days, have some fun. Hopefully, whatever high winds they get here in a few days doesn't do anything to their power grid or anything like that. And we did just have George McFly from Back to the Future 2 and 3 on the show. That was a blast. We kind of ventured away from Star Wars a little bit. We had a lot more tech issues on that one. Oh my gosh. That one was really bad. But he did say that he got invited for ICCC next year. So I don't know if that's right or not. But yeah, just really looking forward to that. Looking forward to collecting more stories, from down there and seeing you guys, those of you that can make it.
I think it'd be good. Everybody try to record some separately, while you're down there, and we'll merge it into some shows. Go ahead.
Do you think Brent's listening right now?
He said he was worn out and going to bed.
Okay.
So I doubt it.
So I've been planning this, and I was so bummed because I couldn't do it last year because I just wanted to run up to him and say, "Are you Brent Dykman? Are you Brent Dykman?"
He will lose his shit if you do that.
You need to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the same because I've been talking to Brent for over 2 years now, and I've never seen him in person before.
I want these recorded, please, so we can have snippets of them.
Right.
Yeah. So Brent and I have become quite the trivia partners. We work well together. I'm the energy. He's the calm, cool, composed, in charge person. I just run around with like a chicken with my head cut off. So we've become quite close. But yes, he still goes back to 2 years ago when someone said that to Willie Harms, who's a listener, came up to him. He came to me. He's like, "Someone knows who I am," and I'm like, "Oh gosh,
I am somebody."
I'm in the phone book. Alfie, you and I started this craziness tonight. Anything you want to hit on we didn't hit on, or anything you want to cover before we head out?
No, I'm just like these guys. I'm excited to go. Can't wait.
I am
if I can
for you.
Add to my Boba Fett collection.
I think that's a good thing. I think all of us, please get some sound bites and video with the lone Mandalorian, the young lady who plays the Chiss. We got her last year saying, "I'm going to rule the galaxy." I think we need another recording of her doing something so we can add it to our stuff. So yeah, I'll give you my list, Alfie. We're going to meet next week. I'm going to give you my list of things to shoot for and do.
A lot of responsibility.
A lot of responsibility.
I don't know if I can handle all of this.
He'll be fine.
I'm gonna need Brent and Alfie to replace. They're gonna have to combine powers to get the energy of Joe, where Joe's just willing to walk up to random people and just be like, "Hey, what's going on?" That's what I love when I can be behind a camera and tell someone like, "Hey, go talk to this guy. I'll get a recording." Like Joe does it. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna need I'm gonna need you guys to step it up, or maybe I'm gonna have to do it. and
You're
you
going to
guys
be
are
in
gonna
front of
have
the
to record
camera.
it.
You're going to be the in front of the camera guy.
Are you guys going to have a table in the room?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep. We will. D-Doc, anything with you besides saving houses and smoking a bowl out in Colorado? You got anything else for us?
Believe it or not, I didn't smoke any drugs when I was out in Colorado. It's not even like it's unique anymore because so many states it's like legal in them now. So it's like
Yeah.
before, like years ago when you were traveling to Colorado, it's like, oh, you can do that there. Now it's like almost every state is like
Yeah.
essentially doing that now. But yeah, I'm excited for ICCC. I got my air legs under me last weekend, got some flying in, had a slightly bumpy ride home. So I'm ready for my flight to Nashville.
Good.
Excited to see the Hyperspace boys down there. You guys made me feel welcome when I was there last year, and it was cool seeing you guys. It kind of like broke the ice walking in and BSing with you guys right away. It's like, all right, we're cool. Like I know all these guys from this Star Wars community, so I'm excited about it.
And that's one of our missions that we've been on. It's just building community, building community with everybody. Because it's like Mike says, he said it on your show, said it on our show. How often do you really make friends at our age anymore? Right. Yep. So ICCC has been a great genesis point for all of us to get to know each other. So
yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, everybody, you guys have all been fantastic. Thanks for coming and doing this. I'll appreciate Brent and Adam for doing the show last week. And next week, I don't know what we'll do because you guys will probably be on the road. So I don't know.
I fly out Wednesday night. I fly out there. So I think I'm going to be the first one of Rule the Galaxy there.
Might be a solo Joe show next week, or I might, I don't know, I might have to find a friend and have them come on the show.
I could join in with you, Joe, and give you the night before preview. I'll be. Is it that soon? Is it next Wednesday?
Yeah,
it's next Wednesday.
Well, we can do StreamYard from our phones. So
this is true. This is true.
Maybe I'll join in with you and give you the pre-game there, Joe. I'll go give you some on-site activities going on there.
That sounds great. Guys, thanks for coming together, doing this. Thanks for making 289 episodes, and we're doing the countdown to 300. Let's see where we go. We're having fun though. That's what it's all about. To Aaron for coming on and being our special guest, for Alfie for always being my rock and being here, for D-Doc, my friend in Philly. Always good to have you guys all together. And until next week when these guys are partying down in Nashville, may the Force